Hi, it's Thomas Gronnemark, the throwing coach. A lot of people have asked me what is the best throwing sequence in a match. First of all, you want to react fast. So it means that the nearest player takes the ball, but also the other players around him or her reacts fast. Then the player who gets the ball want to scan. And you can already begin to scan when you're running towards the ball. But of course, when you get the ball, have the ball in your hands, then you can scan fast and take a decision. So the next one is decision. And you can throw the ball fast if there's a good option. Of course, you have to take a fast decision, but you have to be aware of what are the good options here. What is a good fast decision? Some people are saying, oh, it's always good to throw fast, but one of the worst things you can do is actually to throw fast into a high pressure situation. If there's no good fast options, then you have to have patience. And by that, first of all, if it's not the fullback who has the ball in his or her hands, then you give the ball to that fullback. Then you have to have patience, because then you have X seconds to throw the ball. You'll often have 10 to 15 seconds to do that. And it's really important here that the players are just not standing still. So you're throwing the ball into a big bunch of players. So we have a duel, because that's a disadvantage for you as an attacking team. Of course, an advantage for you as a defending team. But then you have to have patience. But it's not enough to have patience. You want your teammates to create space, and you can do that in many different ways, in many different parts of the zone. And there are no spaces better than others, but there are different spaces in different situations that can be good. And then after that, after you have been creating space, then you have to take a decision. And the decision can be many different things. So all in all, what you want to look after when you have been taking your decision, of course, before that decision, you want to scan where is the space, not only as a thrower, but also as the players who are scanning inside the pitch. They also have to see what is the most valuable space, how can we create it together. And then in the end, you have to look at, in this decision, do we go after a possession, or do we go after risk reward? And the risk reward is also sometimes a really good thing. It's not always the best thing to go after a safe possession, but more about that in another video. It could be really great if all football players could just make this sequence here, but we have a big challenge in football around throw-ins. I like to quote the famous coach Arsene Wenger here, because once he said that the problem in football is that you learn to play the wrong way around. First execution, then decision making, and then awareness last. He also said that as a player, whenever I got the ball, I have to analyze, then decide, and then finally execute. And for me, it's a big challenge in football around throw-ins, that coaches are starting with the most complex things. So in my long, fast, and clever throw-in philosophy, in the training, I'm always starting with first the basics. After that, we go into the medium stuff. And then, in the end, the complex. And what is the complex, the medium, and the basics? First of all, basics, that can be things like the awareness of the players, how to create space on the pitch. It's also to learn how to do big boxes, create big spaces, return pass with good distances. The basics also how to learn the players to throw further, so they have more space on the pitch. Even though you don't want to use this as a long throw-in tool, all players need to throw further, and all teams need to have better throwers too. So that's all the basics. Then we get to the medium part in training. That's small-sided games, and then the players can learn to take that awareness they learned in the basics to the medium size training drills, so they can be even better there. And then in the end, you take the complex stuff around throw-in, so what to do in different zones, different strategy and tactics. And again, I think that the coaches are doing the wrong things. They are, first of all, starting here, and most of them are not doing anything else than being here. But do we want players who can create space, see spaces, of course also defensive-wise, put pressure on the opponent's throw-ins, and so we want to start with the basics, go to the medium, and then the complex. So that's also the reason why I made a course. I made my own Gronnemarks Throw-In Academy. So here I built this up in C, B, and A. And actually, like, you have to train as a football player, like you have to train your players as a coach. It's also built up exactly the same way. We're going to the basics here. Then after that, we're going to a little bit more complex things, medium things. Also things like how can you use blocks and screens and so from basketball. In a normal football throw-in in the middle of the pitch, we are looking at fast throw-ins, fast interval throw-in games and so. And then in the end, we do the complex stuff here. And when I'm saying the complex stuff, it's things like what to do in the different zones. It's also, can you use the player's individual throw-in superpowers, different skills. How can you learn to observe the opponent's defending patterns when you have a throw-in, because that's really, really important. It's also like if you want to use long throw-ins as a set-piece weapon, how can you score them on that? So again, we end up with this. And so if you're interested in improving your team's throw-ins in general, all over the pitch, no matter what playing style you have, no matter what formation you play, no matter what type of players you have, I'll highly recommend you to go into throwinacademy.com and see all about my throw-in course. And then if you're interested in more knowledge around football throw-ins, how to improve them, then be sure to subscribe to my channel. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.